Today's session is Blockchain Talent Development in Cleveland. Our speakers today are Bob Eckman, who is the Security Principal at MCPc Incorporated. He is an adjunct professor teaching cybersecurity for Kent State University's School of Digital Science, where in 2016 he was awarded the Outstanding Teaching Award and recognized by the Ohio State Senate for his achievements in the classroom. Bob also serves as an adjunct and as executive director of CSU's Marshall Law College's Center for Cyber and Privacy. In addition to cybersecurity, Bob is an experienced technologist and product program management specialist, having served in a leadership capacity in IT for over 25 years. Our other speaker is Jen Hill. She is a founder of Project Bitmobile. No. Yes, okay. Typo here. A North American tour providing responsible introductions to the world of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, including free C-Block programs for girls. She has a background in nonprofit management and specialized educational programming with a master's in international affairs from New School University in New York City. She is also a feature reporter for 21 Cryptos magazine. Please welcome Bob and Jen. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that introduction. I'm going to introduce us just a little bit more and just really say that you can see our bios and you've just heard that, but what both Bob and I are is passionate about the role of education in emerging technologies, and we really see as an opportunity for impact. So we hope that you'll leave here today feeling like this is an opportunity where we can learn from lessons of cybersecurity about this new and emerging technology called blockchain. So one of the things about Bob that you need to know is that he is active in advocating, educating, and empowering others as it relates to a holistic approach to cybersecurity and to these type of new technologies. He's also very passionate about professionalization of the field, which is something that blockchain can for sure learn from cybersecurity. And since he has already developed, was a big hand in developing a Center for Cyber and Privacy at Marshall College, he has a long history and a relatively short time frame of cybersecurity. So my long history comes from running specialized educational programs. Everything from international marine biology programs that take place on sailboats in the Caribbean, those were some really good ones, to neuroscience courses that take place in a lab in Durham, North Carolina, where I live. So I've really witnessed firsthand the power of specialized program and education in impacting youth, but also impacting sectors and fields and professionals in the field in which they operate. And to be frank, I also know how easy it is. It's very easy to create these programs and to provide these opportunities for youth. The C-Block program that I created had 12 junior high students who got laptops, young girls, they got laptops of their own, they learned to code, they learned about cryptography, and they got introduced to blockchain. And it's something I was able to throw together and get sponsorship for very easily. So that's sort of our angles here and where we're coming at you from. And I would like to know a little bit about you. How many people here would say that they are comfortable with their knowledge about blockchain? Did you all go to Blockchain 101? I heard it was really good. And Alex's talk, Alex basically laid out blockchain better than I've ever seen anyone. How many people here are educators? Okay, great, so we're good. So I am going to talk about what blockchain is, because no matter how comfortable you feel with it, you're not really ever too comfortable with it. And really the way that I like to think about it is it's actually literally a chain of blocks. It helps me to imagine it that way. And that each block stores data. In the case of Amazon, let's say, the data in that block would include the date, the time, the amount of purchase, what you purchased. It would have information about the entities, so Amazon and you, but it wouldn't have your name and address, right? Because there still needs to be privacy. Everyone can see that block. So it would have a long chain of numbers that's related to you, kind of like a username. All those things would be verified and then put into that block, mixed together with a bunch of other transactions, kind of like a subprime mortgage. And then it would be given a cryptographic hash to keep it all in that chain and unmessable with. So once on the chain, you can view the block and the transactions. So these are the things that blockchain is. It's a growing list of records. It's linked and protected using cryptography. Each block contains that cryptographic hash of the previous block, open, decentralized, immutable ledger, And the big thing here is that it's trustless, or actually creates ultimate trust. So if you think about these transactions happening between two parties, you need to have trust and verification. So imagine all the businesses that you now trust with your information. When I send a check to someone, I trust that the Bank of America is going to print that check and send it to their bank account or make that transfer. So this is a way to do those transfers without that third party. The things that blockchain is not, it's not an invention by Satoshi. So it's not Bitcoin, and Satoshi did not invent this. There were mathematicians back in 1991 who started talking about blockchain and having that technology. So it is also not fast. No one would call it the fastest technology. Distributed validation takes time, it takes energy. A lot of people talk about Bitcoin in this case, that it takes 10 minutes to verify those transactions. But in truth, that's really the exception to the rule. Most of the time, the speed is enough for enterprise use. So it's not the fastest, but it's also maybe not as slow as you keep hearing. It also can be either private or public, and it's not monolithic. So some companies make their own blockchain to do one very specific thing. I met a company here this week that has a blockchain just for tracking transactions of oil. They have their own blockchain, it's used for that, and they can use different sizes of blocks. So it's not always the same thing. Sometimes it's a blockchain that allows other decentralized applications to build off of it, so they can be different. So this is just kind of a different overview of this, and something that Alex Tescott of the Blockchain Research Institute says is that the blockchain is an incorruptible digital ledger of economic transactions that can be programmed to record not just financial transactions, but virtually everything of value. So, Bitcoin is not blockchain. Blockchain is not Bitcoin. They are often confused together, but I'm sure you are all understanding that now, that blockchain is a technology that has been adopted in many different sectors to transfer, to store data, to show data, and to exchange value in a peer-to-peer system. So this is an interesting analogy, and a lot of people use internet to have people understand Bitcoin. So blockchain is to Bitcoin what the internet is to email. It's a big electronic system on top of which you can build applications, and currency is just one of them. So as entrepreneurs began to understand the use of blockchain because of Bitcoin, right, they started discovering that it could impact supply chains, healthcare, insurance, voting, and currently 15% of all financial institutions somehow use blockchain technology or are researching it. So this is another slide that you've probably seen a bunch this weekend, I know I have. The difference between a static web where information is just posted and you get to view it, that was kind of like the beginning of the internet. And now we're sort of in between 2.0 and 3.0 where you're interacting more, right? But in 2.0, you're having to put your information in all the different apps that you use or websites you use. The imagination of 3.0 is where there would be blockchain sources of data that these applications would pull from. So you would have a profile photo in one place, and then you would choose which application can access that one, instead of you posting your data on a bunch of different places. So that's one way to look at Web 3.0, and it goes in deeper if you think about things like artificial intelligence and sources about that. But that's sort of where we are in cybersecurity.
Thank you, Jennifer. So when I was first asked to come up and talk about blockchain as it relates to cyber, you know, I'm a security guy. That's what I do, and I enjoy it a lot. And I can tell you that I'm not a blockchain expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do understand the technology and I understand where it's going, I believe. But as a security guy, a security person, security people